In a pluralist, diverse, and respectful society like ours, we owe it to ourselves to be aware of the impact of our words. Yeah, guys, we are very careful. We are very aware, and that's why we blaspheme. That's why we double down. Because of, this is Justin. Justin, listen. This is exactly why you needed to double down right now on blasphemy and protecting blasphemy. Okay? Because you need to be aware of the impact of your words. You have damaged, the planet is now a worse place because of you, because you challenge enlightenment values. So yes, we owe it to ourselves to be aware of the impact of our words. And you failed at this, Justin. You yourself failed at this. You think that we have to be being careful on the impact of our words means we shouldn't be hurting other people's feelings. No, 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 no. Being careful of the impact of our words means when freedom of expression is being challenged, then you say the exact words that other people are saying you don't get to say. You ask them, hey, what? Okay, so, excuse me. Can you explain what it is that I'm not supposed to say? What are the? Please explain to me exactly the things that you're telling me not to say, so I could say it 1,000 times. Okay? When freedom of expression is being challenged, then the impact that you want to have on the world is are words that piss on the red lines that people are drawing around you. That's the impact that you want to have on the world, Justin. That's the impact that you want to have on the world. So he says we owe it to ourselves to be aware of the impact of our words, of our actions on others, particularly these communities and populations who still experience a great deal of discrimination. Well, thanks to you, they're going to experience more discrimination, Justin. Go fuck yourself. I already explained this. Imagine treating people like children, like, oh, you're oppressed, so I'm not going to hurt your feelings, as if they're the same things. Same thing. Imagine like, hey, like, yes, Muslims are being put into concentration camps. They're being tortured. They're being stabbed. So, are we going to address those? No, let's not hurt their feelings instead. One of these things does not seem like the others. Okay? So Muslims around the world, they're being arrested. They're being put into concentration camps. They're being oppressed. They're being treated like second-class citizens. They're being stabbed by bigots. And also some of them are having hurt feelings because of cartoons. One of these things are not like the others. And given the amount of hurt that some Muslims have gone through, I think it should be an insult to those Muslims for you to say, oh yeah, let's not hurt their feelings, as if this is even close to that. As if should be even treated anything similar to those other experiences. Hey, eager Muslims in concentration camps in China, don't worry. Justin Trudeau said we're not going to hurt your feelings. Have fun in concentration camps. Ex-Shia is saying any set of ideas that controls a group of people's deserves to be criticized and mocked. Exactly. Well, I mean, even if it didn't, any idea, any set of ideas deserve to be criticized and mocked. Even if they're good ideas. Even if they're best of ideas. They don't have to be bad ideas for them to be deserving of mockery and ridicule. Ridicule atheism. At the same time, he said society is ready for a public debate on these issues. Yeah, I agree with that, because morons like you haven't got this right. To have these complex it's not that complex, Justin. Just because you're a fucking moron and you don't get it, that doesn't mean it makes it. It's very simple, okay? It's very simple. Societies that celebrate Enlightenment values have done better than societies that haven't. Data shows that. And it's pretty clear cut, okay? It's pretty clear cut. It's beyond reasonable doubt by now. It's not that complex. But sure, we'll keep having debates. We'll keep having these conversations for the sake of morons like you. To have these guys, by the way, Justin is my prime minister. See how I'm insulting him? See, Justin, you see, you're not. I can tell you that Justin Trudeau is not capable, does not have the power. Even if he wanted to do anything, we, I, see, the activism that we're doing is the type of activism that has gotten Canada to a place where Justin Trudeau does not have, or anybody in his position, or anybody in the Canadian government, would never be able to do anything against me, even if they wanted to. It's not that they don't want to. I mean, they don't want to, but even if they wanted to, even if they wanted to, they have no authority. I could go say whatever I want against them, ridicule them, mock them, piss on their photos, whatever. And there is the entire Canadian government with all its military and all its police and all its institutions is incapable of shutting me up. Me as a Canadian have power over them in this aspect. And that has happened in Canada because of activists who fought for these values. Values that Justin is now betraying. There are people that sacrificed, that bled for, that gave up their safety, their freedom, their sanity sometimes, their lives. Again, I'm telling you, these values have been paid for in blood, in lives, in loved ones. And it was a gift by many people that came before you. And you take it for free. These Canadians, these Americans, these French people, these British people, the Germans, they just born into it with no cost to them. And they're like, hey, should we maybe give this up? They have no idea what they have. They have no idea how unique historically and geographically these values are, and how lucky they are that other people sacrifice for them to have it. And how if you give up any of these values, even a tiny bit, even if you take half a step back, they will take years to get it back again, because governments, authorities, when they take your rights away, they're not going to just give it back to you voluntarily. If you just be like, oh, I have these rights, I'm going to give it away. Do you think, like, if you say, oh, I regret that, can I have it back, please? Do you think they're just going to give it back to you when you regret? No, you have to bleed again to get it back. You have to sacrifice again hundreds of years to get it back. So don't give it away. Don't give it away, because they're not going to give it back when you give it away to you. It's not free. People think, again, this is one problem I have with the Enlightenment philosophers, is that they're like, oh, these are rights ordained by God or by nature. And like, these are like, what did it say? Self something? Something that means that they're obvious, or like they're given but endowed by nature or something crap like that. No, this is why I'm glad that you don't have to use nature or God's language anymore to it, because we have data to show that these values work. What do they say? Self something? They use a word that makes it seem like it's obvious that these laws should be values. But no, it's not. This is not something that it just comes by naturally. These values are not values that just come up naturally. They don't just come out of the ground. They're like, oh yeah, of course we have to have freedom of expression. This is like my natural right. It's not your natural rights. These are not natural rights. There's nothing natural about them. These are social constructs, good ones. But people say, oh, these are made up, as if that's a bad thing. Yeah, made up good things could be great. Social constructs could be great. The fact that we get to say what we want, like, these are values that we made up, and we did a great job, like the humans made up, and they did an amazing job at making it up. So don't think they're natural, that they're just like oozing out of the sky, like they're not raining down, they're not in nature, okay? People built them, and if you don't keep defending them, it's going to crumble down. Self-evident. Thank you. Jesus Christ, this is what I wanted to say. Yes, quiet renaissance. Thank you. Self-evident. Self-evident. They're not self-evident. If they were self-evident, you wouldn't need to take this many activists to be able to fight for them, okay? Calling them self-evident makes it seem like, yeah, of course, it's just going to naturally appear out of nowhere. No, okay? These are values that people fight for, and when you get them, you don't just drop, you don't just like go, oh, we could go home now, we got these values. Oh, women rights, gay rights, freedom of expression, secularism, government accountability, democracy. Oh, yeah, we got it. Oh, okay, we could go home now. No, 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 no. You fight for it, you get it, and then you create an army to defend it. There's nothing self-evident about them. Again, that's one criticism I have. This is why today when the Enlightenment thinkers, when they were introducing these ideas, they were using that kind of language, and I do appreciate them in popularizing these ideas. But today we don't need that garbage language to defend these ideas. Today we have data. We have data to show that these values work. We don't need to convince people that this is a gift from God or nature or that it's self-evident.